Okay, everybody's got a fucking podcast. I mean, we have a podcast, so obviously anyone can do it.
Wait, this is a podcast?
Are you recording right now?
Technical difficulties.
No, you don't have to say anything. I'm going to edit it out.
Technical difficulties.
Okay.
I put mayonnaise on a pickle.
It was not the best, but it might have been the worst.
Do my feet? I mean, my feet stink, right?
Yeah. The camera.
The camera. You can't trust the cameras or the government, really.
Yeah, except what was your CIA guy's name?
Dave, Bill, or Kevin. I think we've alternated.
True.
Yeah. Dave, I feel like I spend the most time with.
Dave. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
All right, so we did Ocean's 11, and
then we did Ocean's 11.
True, we did. Yeah, we had that camera mishap, and then technically we did Ocean's 11 because we did both Ocean's 11s, the 1960 version and the 2001 version. So that's the previous one. You can go back and hear that if you want. But we'll see how we do here. Maybe you will hate us and never want to watch something again or listen to something again. But Ocean's 12, better or worse than Ocean's 11, would you say?
There were some small things in Ocean's 12 that I enjoyed more than the first one, but as an overall story, Ocean's 11 is better.
I would agree with that. I would say from just the standpoint of the first one wasn't in any way, that's extremely plausible.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it was sort of
they
plausible.
just got all this funding together to build a complete replica of the vault and videotape them doing a fake heist so they could play it across all the security cameras.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah. Totally feasible.
No problem.
Yeah.
This one seemed even more unlikely to happen in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But, they got it done.
Somehow, some way. I do like that we kept to the 2 weeks, like just the minimum, planning window available to them. In that grand scheme of things, they really only had like 1 week or 5 days or something for the main part of the plan.
Right.
Like a lot of time was spent in, fuck, we all got caught. Let's go to Amsterdam. And then we're we'll get into it, but.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll get into it. I get the thing that jumped out to me most is that they cheated.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that.
We'll get into
as
it.
well. So, bad summary. I had two bad summaries for this movie. The first, man decides against removal of tattoo on genitalia.
Classic.
Let me read that again because I fucked up the word genitalia. I was going to say genitals, and I said genitalia, and it just messed the whole thing up. Man decides against removal of tattoo on genitalia.
There you go. That lands. How did that genitalia land?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yikes.
The other was characters from previous movie win friendly competition by way of cheating, which is actually a fantastic summary rather than a bad summary.
That's just an accurate summary.
Yeah. Do you have one? It's okay.
I don't know. I was stretching for it. I was like local con artists get together for round 2 kind of thing.
Okay.
But
actually a terrific
it's again,
summary.
just the same thing. It's just a good one.
Box score. I don't remember exactly what I did. I know Reuben's Cigars and Malloy Brother Arguments were two of the ones I did on the last one.
Yep, we had some explosions too.
We did. I think we just had the. Oh, well, explosions was a category.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
I did those 3, and then we didn't really have any deaths.
Yeah.
I didn't come up with any others, so I just have these 3. The Reuben Cigars, 10. Motherfucker smoked like a chimney in this movie.
Yeah.
Explosions, unless I'm missing something, I'm pretty sure it was just Rusty's car in the beginning of the movie when they're all getting tracked down.
Yeah.
So,
which was kind of lit. Not gonna lie, that was lit. But yeah, I don't remember anything else going through the rest of the movie.
Yeah. And the third, the Malloy Brother Arguments, which they were pretty nice to each other in this movie.
Yeah.
I only counted the one where they're outside the museum, and
Like it was used as a tool to say how they didn't catch that.
what's his Francois was in the
Night Fox.
the black. Night Fox, or Black Fox.
It was Night Fox.
It was Night Fox. Okay, all right. Sorry, I watched it earlier. I watched it before I gave it to you. So, anyway, I just like that he says there, "I'll pay you $1 million if you don't say a word for a month." That's funny.
Yeah, I feel like that's an argument I would have like with one of my friends. It's like, just I need you to shut up now. I will give you money if you just shut up right now.
Yeah. As far as the cool stuff, which you have no idea what I'm talking about if you've never listened to us before or anything like that. But typically I do a thing, or if I watch the commentary, I can pick out some stuff that the director says or somebody. But
It's the
they're
cool
just
stuff. It's the stuff you wouldn't know unless you dug a little bit for it or watched the special features, did some Google searches.
Right. Not a ton on this movie. So I'm not forcing it. What stuff I did here is just kind of layered into the commentary, so we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
First note on my commentary was just like certainly a very different start. Like, they even mentioned in the director commentary that they really just didn't want to make the same movie 2 times.
Yeah, because it would be so easy to fall into that same formulaic.
Just a casino overseas or something.
Yeah, and then we assemble the gang for 30 minutes, and then we do the plan, and then we're a little nervous, and then everything's fine.
Yeah. Even though he broke his hand, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
The bandage got caught there, but he didn't explode. It's a whole So, I don't know. Maybe I don't like this one as much because they seem to start out on top. Whereas I feel like the last one, you're kind of rooting for the underdog.
Yeah.
In a way. Even though their friend Ruben has all the money in the world and can finance any project. So, they don't really feel like the underdog either.
Yeah.
So
they feel like a little bit like they played themselves. Now they just gotta get out of it.
Right.
Like you're not thinking like, oh no, like these poor guys, like they're just got to do whatever they got to do to get by. It's like, okay, what are they going to do to swindle their way out of this kind of thing?
Right.
Like you don't know that or for a fact just with these types of characters, like there's no genuine way for them to be like, oh man, like this will be tough to get out of. They're just like, nah, man, we're just gonna go steal some shit. It'll be fine. Like
Right.
there's no stakes almost involved or no real consequence because they're just like, fuck it, we'll steal some shit.
Right.
It's what we do.
Yeah.
We're not peasants.
Yeah. We're not peasants here.
Yeah.
And then the kind of the role reversal as far as Rusty and Danny, because Danny's trying to get his girl, but like you find out both gigs in both of these movies, the ultimate goal really is just to get their girl back.
Yeah.
So basically, we really just did a swap and a different storyline, and in this one they cheat. And I'm really just kind of hung up on the whole fact that they cheated.
Yeah. That's not cool. It takes away from a lot of the, genuineness of, especially when you're like competing. And we'll get into it again. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but you lose some of that like genuine, like there's actually a competition involved and there's real stakes if you've started off winning.
Yeah. Would you have any notes at the beginning there?
So just the, I think it was like 3 years prior or something is like that
Rome.
timeline we got in
Yeah.
Rome. So I was like, okay, getting a little bit of backstory on Rusty. Like, that's all cool and shit. He's got, hot chick in the bed. I was like, this is fantastic. I'm rooting for him. And then when she starts talking about, like, oh, yeah, we found some evidence about the whatever job, the worn down heel. And he's looking at his shoes. And he's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
He's like, goes in the bathroom or whatever. She's just going on. He's like, oh, fuck. Like,
Yeah.
just number one that he bothered to involve himself in a situation like that is I felt very in character. Number one, just that he would be, Icarus flying way too close to the sun there, trying to keep all things balanced. But so I like just that intro sequence there, and then just the I'm gonna take a shower, closes the door, and then just fucking dips like immediately. I felt like that was just a really awesome kind of introduction to, their relationship, and just kind of our second story here.
Yeah.
I just thought that was pretty effective way to start off.
Yeah, and also the only thing I could think of, which I guess shows my true colors, is he just left her water on and jumped out the window.
Yeah.
I mean, her water bill is gonna be, because she's gonna sit there.
She's going to go back to bed.
She's going to be like, oh, he's probably still showering. And then she's going to go up. She's finally going to get up and be like, where the fuck is he? And he's like, well, it's been 2 hours. My water's been running this whole time.
Yeah. And I will say, I mean, his failure
Considerate.
point, he still left the shoes behind.
Yeah.
So he made it even more obvious that it was him.
Yeah.
Fool.
Yeah. I was just more concerned with the water bill.
Yeah,
honestly. What do you got next?
The thing I had next was, we see Danny and he's, doing the, I don't know, like the
Suburbia
loan
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, this doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
He's like applying for a loan. He's asking questions and stuff. And he's like, how old's that vault? Like, 100 years. But there's been all kinds of state-of-the-art updates to it. And he's like, oh, yeah, I could break into that.
Yeah.
It's like, I was inside one of those while it was being robbed once. And he's like, that is interesting. Like, the dude on the other end of that desk has got to be, like, hitting his panic button. Like, I need a guy.
Yeah.
We are under attack.
His finger's, like, just hovering above that button.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to press it. Don't press it.
So that part just kind of seemed like really funny because it was just like I think it was kind of mentioned on the phone call he had afterwards, where it's just like are you what's
Doing
the word for
recon
it? Yeah,
on
you're
our-
doing
yeah.
recon on our honeymoon or
Second,
whatever.
third anniversary.
Yeah. And it's like he can't get away from it. It's just ingrained into him that he's just like, I gotta steal shit.
But, like, I mean, there's a reason these work, even though, like, I don't know. Like, Clooney's just so fucking smooth.
Yeah.
Like, he's the most suave guy ever. Just the whole
There's
deal
a reason everybody's in love with him and,
Right.
and wants to bang him.
Just
so.
the whole deal with him being on the phone, like, oh, I'm casing a jewelry store, and looks at her, and he's like,
Yeah. He's got maxed out charisma for sure.
Oh,
It's dynamite.
well, I mean, like, one of the best shots. Well, there's the escalator scene in the last one. And then just that scene where Rusty goes out to the bar and gets a drink when they're doing that celebrity little card game deal. And he comes back and, Danny's fresh out of jail and he's just sitting there with the cards and just in the jacket, just looking suave as hell.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just a real cool shot. Clooney's,
No, it is cool.
Clooney's cool as fuck. Anyway.
I'm with you.
I have a Topher Grace note.
Okay.
So anything you have before that?
So I guess just prior to that is when they pull up outside of is Tess is her name, right?
Yeah.
They pull up outside and Tess is on the phone and I didn't write down what the code word was, but it was like
there's water
in the basement and the pilot lights out. Yeah. And he's like, hang up the phone. Like he just yelled at her and it clicked immediately. But like the oh shit of seeing him like pull up. Like, for some reason, just 100% landed on me. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, audibly watching this. I was like, oh, shit. Like, it's going down. So I thought that was just really effective that, coming in pretty hot off of Ocean's 11 into this. I was just like, oh, my God, they're fucked. Everybody's fucked. Run.
Well, and Terry went up like 9 levels on the douchebag scale.
Yeah.
He's walking out with the fucking cane.
Yeah.
If you have a cane and you don't need a cane,
You're a douchebag.
you're such a douche.
Well, not to mention, like, he was waving it around in her face and everything. He, like, tapped it on her shoulder from behind a couple of times. And she was like, oh, get the fuck off me.
Get that phallic object off my shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very douchebaggery. But, no, just a little bit of the, like, the anxiety and terror. Like, I was like, oh, boy. Like, heart started beating a little bit.
It's a sweet start for sure.
Yeah.
It's a good way to start it
like,
out.
and, yeah, like you said, we just start off super strong on this and getting into it. But
Yeah. I just had, so in 2004, on 70 Show, I think I should have wrote down what season it was, but that was when Eric had like gone to Africa or whatever. So it kind of lines up if Topher Grace's character's like, I quit the show,
Yeah.
you know, and he's having his little meltdown. It's like this Kabbalah crap doesn't even work. You know, and he's got that goofy shirt on. Your boyfriend wants me or whatever.
Yeah, I thought just
Fun.
having him in there in general was just hilarious because
Yeah, the fact that they maintain that relationship.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it just didn't even click at the very first second. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh my god, that's Topher Grace,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah,
That was fun.
all Reds.
Yeah.
I had a thing about a deleted scene with Linus, but it's after like everybody gets. So it's in that whole bit where everybody is getting found.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So I don't know. Do you have anything on that? scene
Just
where everybody's
the-
getting found.
So like once Rusty got back in there and he was talking with Topher and everything, and then he gets the phone call, and he is taking it and he's busting ass down the steps like trying to get to his car, and just the talking about like I could do something like blow up one of your vehicles or whatever. You have 17 of them.
Your favorite of your 17.
Yeah, your favorite of your
vehicles,
17 as you're walking down in the morning or whatever, and then it just immediately exploded. He's like, you have 14 days. I was like, yes! Like, that is the most, like, in that type of movie, just to have, like, a straight up, like evil villain almost, you know what I mean? That's exactly what it was. Like, he was no longer an antagonist. He, like, that moment, he was, like, evil villain status. I was
Just
like,
deliver
that...
an ice cold line
Oh, my God.
and hang up.
Why does nobody do that anymore? Like, it doesn't take a lot. You just have to have some one-liners and just something with an impact. And it just makes you the hardest fucking person.
Yeah.
Man, it landed.
Landed. So Linus is kind of a brief scene when he's found out in the actual movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's just sitting in the back of the limo. He's like, tell my parents. He's like, no. And then he starts saying something else. And Terry's like, get out of my car. He's like, yep.
Yep, Mike.
Um,
They made Linus way more of an awkward kid in this one, I feel like, than...
they did. It was kind of vague that he was awkward in the previous, but yeah, they were
They
definitely like,
heavy-handed
you're
it.
really a dweeb is what they did
Yeah,
to him in this
really.
movie. Well, there is a deleted scene. Like there's a couple, right? So the first one is he's sitting on a bench when Terry's guys get him, Jesus. And so he's sitting there, he's like giving advice to these kids. No, I'm good, thanks. He's giving advice to like kids on the bench, then the kid walks away, and then Terry's guys stand up and he's like, okay, I'm ready. But then the other one that's funnier is like Linus trying to be like Danny basically, but it's all these kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no, like, I'm desperate to know, like, what the fuck the heist would have been with all the kids, But, like, the line is, he's basically recreating that scene, but with those children. Like, the first scene where he's like, you're welcome to eat and drink as much as you want, and,
Okay.
we'll part ways if, if you're not interested, right? But his line is, now, if that doesn't sound like your particular brand of Snapple, help yourselves to as many s'mores or fruit roll-ups as you like, and have no hard feelings. You can call your moms from inside the house. The rest of you can come with me. And then he turns around, the kids start following him, and there's Terry's goons right there, and yeah, that's where it cuts. But
Yeah, it would have been nice if there was like a crayon drawn plan or something
I
like in
would've
the middle
loved
of
it,
them, like
yeah.
that. Just like some extra touch like that would have been pretty mint.
like I'm totally okay with a spin-off series called Linus's 8, or just something. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That'd be cool.
Well, he did
But-
spend $1 million in talent development, so
That must have been what it was.
yeah, he was just buying snacks for the kids or something. Maybe
Yeah.
got to earn their work somehow.
Yeah. The next note was when they all kind of met up after all being found out.
Yep, that's where I'm at.
Okay. It's two things. So I love how fixated they all are on the fact that it was called Ocean's 11. Like none of them can really get past it. They're all just like, I thought we were calling it
the Benedict job.
Yeah. So I thought that was funny that just all of them had an issue with it.
Yeah, and like that's like what the immediate concern was, not that like they've all been had.
Yeah.
and, like they got to figure something out. It's just like a Ocean's 11, really. Like that's what the name was. Like
Yeah, not the fact that they all owe all the money that they spent.
Plus interest.
Plus interest. It's yeah. And the other thing about just Saul just throwing his hands up and being like, "Nah, I'm too old for this shit," Danny Glover style.
Yeah.
You know, just like I don't know. It's kind of shitty. But also, everyone let it happen.
Yeah, no, I thought it was fair. Like in my head, he's just like because I think his line was like, "I want the last check I write to bounce."
Yeah.
And I was like, just like that's cool.
Good line.
That's a good line.
Good line and walk out.
But I respected it, and yeah, obviously everyone else was just like, "No, it's fine. We'll figure it out." I forget who it
not
was.
Basher. He's like,
Well.
"You're having a laugh, right?"
Yeah. Having a fucking laugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the guys was like, "No, I'll get a share. It's fine." Like they
yeah,
just,
Ruben, the rich one.
Yeah.
Who probably could have paid everyone's share when it comes down to it.
Yeah, but
considering
that's
he
not
finances all this shit.
fair.
Just how casual Ruben was about picking up the $19 million tab.
I got it. It's fine.
And again, like there really should be no sympathy or empathy for these guys.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
I do.
Okay. Do you see what I did there? Anyway.
But at this point, though, I gotta say, I hadn't seen Ocean's 12 before, so I was very at this stage thinking that they were heavy-handing like Linus's like nervousness and like the feeling of inexperience too hard, and that somehow that he was double conning somebody here. So like I just felt like he like somehow had something else, you know, like backdooring this, like where he just was planning ahead, especially because he had talked about how he'd spent like money doing like talent development and stuff like that. Like I was pretty confident like some level of subplot would have been involved with Linus like pulling one over on him so he could be like, "Gotcha."
Right.
Or like him being kind of like coming in clutch at the end or something. Like I thought something like that was going to be brought up just with how heavy-handed they were with like his awkwardness and inexperience.
Yeah. It just ended up being his mom.
Yeah.
Which is like the dweebiest of the dweeb
It,
stuff you can
but
do.
like it's so in character and that's why it works. But like, yeah.
Yeah. My next thing is when they talk to, I didn't write down his name.
Matsui.
Yeah, Matsui. So if you got anything for that or...
Yeah, I just, it went back to like the code talk, you know, that we had from the first phone there where they were using names as like the code for, you know, like a type of person for a job.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I was like, yeah, we got code talk.
And Linus is like, "You had to have made that up, right?"
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't remember what the phrase was, but...
But just that scene overall just worked out really nice because Linus is Linus, so he's just nervous as all shit, and he just starts rambling off a thing, which I'm like, it had to have been like song lyrics or something. Like he couldn't have just made that up. It had to have been like a weird song that he just used the words for, and everyone was just like, "Oh, this fucking idiot."
Yeah.
And then the waiting outside, and he's just like, what did I say? What did I do? He's like, you said something about his niece.
I have the
who's...
quote. Yeah.
Oh, Gary,
You called his niece a whore. A cheap one. She's 7. Currently confined to bed with a wicked case of... No, don't tell him. You're right. Sorry. I'm sorry. So, yeah.
Oh, man. I thought that was the funniest shit, though. I love Code Talk in general, and just that it was very deliberate to fuck with him.
That was my second favorite quote of the movie.
Yeah, that just lands.
A little bit on Robbie Coltrane, the guy who played whatever you said his name was.
Matsui.
Yeah, Matsui. I did not realize up until this point that that's the dude that played Hagrid in Harry Potter.
Yeah, Lindsay called it out immediately.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah?
recognize it until she'd said it, so I did not pick that up at all. She was like, "Oh, that's Hagrid." I was like, "Oh shit."
I mean, you see it as soon as they're like, as soon as you look it up.
Yeah.
I mean, at least, yeah, that's because I was just sitting there, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, look at fucking Hagrid," and also he was our guy Zukovsky from Goldeneye and The World Is Not Enough, which are recorded but not out yet, unless maybe they are. I don't know when you're watching this or viewing or listening to this, so you'll just have to find out.
Check it out or just wait longer.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just surprised I didn't. I mean, I guess I just didn't have any reason because he was kind of like a small part in both of those. I think in both those Bond movies. So I just hadn't happened to look up the guy. So, but yeah, that's our guy, Hagrid and Zukovsky.
Yeah.
And Matsui.
So my next note is more of just talking about what our job is, like our first job.
Yeah.
So if you had anything you wanted to touch on prior to just what the job is.
It is me being a cunt a little bit. A yigabadai. I said I would stop saying cunt. If you're gonna be a dick about it, that's the acronym. A yigabadai. It's stupid. The sheer amount of money spent for the things they do in this movie is insane. Obviously, it was high in the last movie. They built a vault. But why were these movies successful? It's a vibe. It's a good hang.
Yeah.
You know, you like all these extremely famous people. I want to hang out with them for 2 hours. That'll work. Let's hang out with them. Because you don't feel bad for the guys, with their friend Ruben who could finance a goddamn war. Think about just a couple of the things. Specifically, this scene, this first job. Okay? Just getting to Amsterdam, you figured 10 tickets. Eventually, other people arrive. But, initially, just the 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they're staying in a hotel, ordering room service and shit. We're talking 2 weeks here. Equipment to lift up a fucking building. I can't imagine the underwater jack stands are cheap.
Yeah.
Know?
Well, and not to mention the crew that gets you out there, because it's not like they just rolled out on a dinky or something.
And that fucking boat.
Yeah.
With all this shit running out. I mean, what? All the gear. I mean, Yen's got to have gear down there. It's a whole thing,
It's
man.
a whole operation.
Do you think you could get all that shit by tonight?
No. So, and yeah,
Fuck!
so it definitely does break the illusion, and I guess they're used to it, in the first one, they're like, oh yeah, we just built a vault in a couple of days or whatever, no big deal.
Yeah.
So in this one, it's it seems so odd, just the elaborate preparation that went into the small job, because they said it was 2.5 million.
Yeah.
Was what this job was going to be worth to them,
I
or
bet
maybe
you-
it was 2.5 billion per bond, so maybe it was kind of smaller scale.
Well, because he was 2.5 million. What wasn't it? Was it euros?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it probably would have been.
And they were
so.
2.5 each, and he was like, no. And they're all like, whoa, God.
what are
You're
we doing? Why are we
Yeah.
wasting our time on 2.5? But again, I'm kind of blanking on it because I know he said it was per bond, but there may have only been one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the whole job was 2.5.
Yeah. So then that's what I was saying. I was like, it's such a low, total. It's such a low score in comparison to everything else we've done before for it to still take probably a lot of money in preparation. Just
So
seemed odd.
much money. There had to be so much money, and it all happened so quickly.
Yeah.
that
The
it's just
expedition
ridiculous.
of it had to have been, more than the cost of the actual thing.
Yeah.
And they even talk about it. I mean, by the time that Tess gets involved in the whole thing, a little bit later on, he's like, "Yeah, we're in the hole, more than what we started with. We're fucked."
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah, that and fuck. What was the other thing I was gonna say? I don't remember what I was gonna say. Maybe we'll move on.
yeah,
Yeah.
I am glad that at least for the job itself, we got a little bit of context on it. I totally thought we were just gonna montage over it and go to the next thing, and that we wouldn't see.
I remember what I was gonna say.
Sure, go.
I like that Ruben said Leaning Tower of Pizza. Anyway.
Yeah, instead of pizza. Yeah. It's
And
nice
then
to have
and Rusty just blew by it. He was like, "Thank you."
Yeah. But it is small things you notice when you have the subtitles turned on for everything.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, but yeah, no, I do like that we actually got to see a little bit of detail of the job happening. Because I totally thought we were just going to blow past it and then get into Lahey, the girl. What was her last name?
Oh, Isabel?
Yeah. She had a last name.
Probably.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. So it was her involvement and kind of showing up and stuff. I thought we were gonna just beeline past all of the actual job itself, but we actually got to see a little bit of the plan taking place. And
Yeah. We find out a crucial plot point, right?
Yeah.
Because Francois, the Night Fox,
Night Fox.
it's
a cool name.
He's just on their shit from the beginning. He just wants to fuck with him.
What an asshole.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like there's the whole. I don't know. This is big. I mean, you want to talk about the cheating now?
Sure.
Just dive into.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's go into it.
So, they're all kind of butthurt that Francois is fucking with him,
Mm.
right? Danny goes and meets him at his place, and he's like,
What did we
He's like-
ever do to you a little bit? It's like,
yeah, kind of. Like, I think the quote was, I should have wrote it down, but I think the quote was that he's like, you're you're fucking with, I don't think he said fucking, because I don't know.
yeah,
I don't think fucking comes out of Clooney's mouth.
no.
He's
He's
too
like, you're
smooth.
messing with a lot of people's lives. or-
Yeah, he lives in a lot of people's livelihoods, just to have fun, to prove a point, or whatever the hell he said, right? And they keep talking about, like, no thief we know would break the first rule of being a thief, But also, isn't there no honor amongst the thieves, right? And so he breaks that rule. So it's like, are they justified in cheating? Because basically what we find out is that, they basically go around Francois and they're like, Lamarck, what the fuck? Who's supposedly like the greatest thief ever, and turns out to be Isabel's father.
Extremely convenient.
Yeah, super. But that's how the plan works out, because then Rusty is, like, that's Lamarck's plan. Is he's like, well, I want. There's many layers there
There's
could have
so
been.
many layers.
Was Lamarck like, I'm gonna shoot off at the mouth in front of Francois so that I can get Danny's guys to get me Isabel, because I'm pretty sure Rusty and Isabel were fucking at one point. I keep tabs on my daughter. Was it that? I don't know.
Or is it just that like Rusty and him like keep in touch, and like that's why he's like kind of in the know, and
It's like,
that's
I'm
why.
fucking your daughter. You want to talk to her?
Or and that could have been part why like he does keep tabs on her, so he can relay that information back to him. I mean, you'd have to read between a lot of lines to like draw a whole picture here.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just a lot of like everyone has a separate plot that is magically relevant and falls in line at the same time.
Right. So, what Lamarck gets out of it is seeing his daughter again. Plus, plus the egg, I guess, right? They essentially stole the egg for him.
Yeah.
But they basically talk to Lamarck. Lamarck's like, the egg's going to be on this train, before it even arrives at the museum. So you can just let, fucking
Yeah.
Francois
yeah.
steal the fake egg and be satisfied with that. And so like they just picked it off of. Now, granted, is that being good thieves? Just being a better thief, or is that cheating? Because essentially, the goal was it's going to be in the museum. Who can steal it from the museum first?
Yeah, if
Better,
we're
whatever.
But that's the thing. It's like the game was set around that parameters that it has to be stolen from the museum.
That's
right?
what I thought.
So like it in my head, it's kind of shite.
Right, because Francois, I'm pretty sure Francois even said, like, it's going to be at the museum. And sorry, that's how I feel like French people talk. He said it's going to be,
baguette.
yeah, it's going to be at the museum, at this time, this day, so we'll steal, whoever can steal it is the winner, and I'll pay you the money.
Yeah.
So, to me, it was just like, oh, so you just cheated.
Yeah. And I guess maybe part of that is the point, is that like cheating and not getting caught is really the main thing.
Right. So
So
should
it's like
there have been honor amongst the thieves in that case, or were they just paying Francois back for fucking their shit up?
yeah, I don't know, because like from like Francois's perspective, I think just the fact that he loses in general, like, is probably just like the ego blow. So he's like, whatever, like fuck it, all this is stupid.
Yeah.
I'll come up with a new heist and call you guys back again, kind of thing. Maybe,
Right.
Something like that. But yeah, just I don't know. It seemed odd.
It just, the whole thing is they're supposed to be the men. Now, again, as Soderbergh was saying in the commentary, they didn't just want to make the same movie twice. But I guess some of the allure of the movie is like, oh, this is going to be a sweet plot based around like they're just going to be master thieves. And I suppose just going around the back and grabbing the shit before anyone got in there was kind of master thievish.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just how I felt. Like they cheated, and
it's a
I guess
lot
they were just
of work
paying
to
back.
maintain the cheat.
yes,
You know
the
what I
fact that
mean?
They were like, you have to just put on a show now for Francois.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that's a lot, and like it's understandable, and obviously, like maybe that's part of the job and why there's kind of the novelty to it. But it's like to know, like, okay, we've won. Now everybody pretend we haven't won yet.
yeah.
Like it's just it seems like it's so like convenient, I guess, to just be like, oh no, we won the whole time, but we tried real hard to fake win too.
Yeah, and then keeping up the we're losing thing is kind of goofy, right? Because, excuse me, if you think that, so Linus's mom pulls off that whole thing, and then they thought they were for sure in trouble. I guess Rusty and Danny are just keeping it to themselves that they indeed cheated, that the job's done, and they just got to keep these guys thinking that it's time to roll, because Linus sure as hell doesn't know.
But he had to have known because he's the one who swapped
well-
bags, right?
Right, like he's not.
So he had
acting
to have
like
known that, like, he swapped bags for a reason.
right. So
and
like, I guess you still have to put on a show. I don't know. It's a weird dynamic because you're under the impression that they're just like, oh fuck, we're fucked.
Yeah, but it
The
just
whole
seems
time.
like really odd to have like Linus having like a trump card of like get out of jail free card, when they had already won.
Right.
Like, why not just avoid getting caught the whole way around?
well, because Francois still has to think you're
Yes.
trying.
But like it just
But-
seems so weird to have, kind of like that grand trump card to, get away, and
Right.
then it just not really mattering because like the game had already been won. We're not playing a game at that point. We're just like filling in the blanks. We're just passing the time until Francois knows that he lost.
Yeah, but I mean, he did have him under heavy surveillance, right? I mean, he's sitting there practicing his dance moves shirtless at his house,
Yeah.
and he's got the monitor up with all their
Which
shit.
I have to say, like, from a, slightly maybe like a spy thief perspective there.
Sure.
But like, all he really did was climb a roof and flip around for a couple minutes. Like that's his grand thievery. He's one of the best.
Yeah.
And all he did was watch some video cameras, call Danny at 11 p.m. and and do some dance maneuvers.
Yeah.
And like he's master thief. The bar to
But-
entry seems mildly low.
I mean, you're right there. But I mean, could any of them have danced around all the
No,
lasers?
George probably could have.
No. He's not much of a dancer, I don't think.
He's-
Not like
he'd
that.
have a side shuffle or
Well,
something.
sure,
you know what I mean?
but I
Like
don't think you
he'd
can-
skirt around the dance floor.
I don't think you could side shuffle through all that,
He'd figure it out. He'd be so smooth the lasers would just
just
obscure
shut
off of him.
And then, yeah, they just like shut off and then turn back on the other side of them.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll work. No, I mean,
That's
I don't
plot
know.
armor right there.
Yeah, I know, right? I guess the real degree of difficulty with that, as far as the Night Fox goes, right, is the first job, right? Because they were like, "How are we gonna get in?" They raise the building, and then they shoot their crossbow in there, and then get in there and realize that Francois already did the shit.
So how did Francois do it?
Right. And that is probably what is the more impressive thing. Unless he just like scaled the building. I don't know.
He
Or it's
suction cupped himself to the ceiling.
right. But it also seems like it's a fixed job, right? Because of Matsui,
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, we'll give you this," and then because that's how they even figure out Francois is involved. And so maybe you think Matsui had. I mean, you think the Night Fox maybe had like the in with the homeowner, and so then he just left the.
I mean, in this exact moment, now that you said all that aloud, a little bit,
Yeah, right?
that does kind of fall in line a bit, but
No honor amongst the thieves. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you got to think in some way, shape, or form, all their ability to do a job effectively has been relying on other people outside of the team doing something for them. It's like being able to get them all the equipment to build the vault and stuff in the first one, and then in the second one, Matsui kind of giving them a little bit of an in there. We get the dude whose name who did the hologram technology. I don't remember his name.
Nagel. Just be Nigel.
Yeah.
If you're named Nagel, I'm sorry.
But, stuff like that. It's like the plan hindered around somebody's fulfillment of a function that was outside of our core group. So I have to imagine that's just maybe par for the course. And then also for Francois that, his ability to do jobs efficiently is also very hindered on, an information channel or, some other person who's able to provide either a form of function for him to do what he needs to do. And maybe that's just the move. That's what the pro thieves do. And that's why it makes sense in 1961 why he was calling up all those people, because everybody knew somebody who knew somebody, because everyone was mildly involved every time something went down. Full circle. It's all coming together.
Full circle. All right, so I got a couple just rolling through here. When Isabel's in traffic on the phone talking to her boss, and the guy on the Vespa pulls up and kind of looks in the window, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he just drives off. Now, it doesn't seem like that guy's path really is impeded. Now, this is going somewhere. This isn't just me being a dick, okay?
Sure.
Because I'm wondering truly who this guy was.
Yeah.
Because he kind of looks in, and I mean, like, it could be some French pervy guy, because those exist.
Mm-hmm.
You ever met Pepe Le Pew, right? But really, it just seemed like, okay, do they just have a cinematic need to be filled here? Because he drives up, and then the sign for the egg is there.
Yeah.
And so, like, huh?
And, like, that idea had to be planted
Right.
in the brain. Where was Rusty at the time? Maybe he was in disguise and rode up and was, like, trying to guide her towards that direction. Maybe he was long conning it. I don't remember where he was, honestly.
Well, I have a separate thing for Rusty that doesn't have to do with this.
Okay.
But that is a thought. My thought was, I mean, the guy kind of, like, I rewound it a couple times. I searched on, like, Reddit and, like, just the internet in general.
See if that any kind of fan theory or anything.
Could not find any the search was just like Ocean's 12, and I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm looking for a more specific thing here. I couldn't. Maybe I'm a bad Googler, Redditor, whatever. But no one seemed to have any theories. It was just like, oh yeah, I like Ocean's 12. I was like, yeah, great. My thought was that it was the Night Fox. That maybe he was just kind of like checking up on Isabel because, again, he's got taps on the whole thing.
Yeah.
So he knows everything that's going on.
I mean, shit, maybe he was throwing something on the car that would let him listen into the phone call, Like, it
Maybe
could have been
there's that.
anything like that.
Yeah. Or was it just a guy on a Vespa and they just needed that cinematic need and he happened to be like, oh, there's a pretty girl in this car.
Pretty girl.
Yeah.
I'd like it in my head much better that it had some relevance, like that it was a person relevant to the plot.
That it was Francois.
Yeah.
Because he almost looked a little like Francois.
He was very petite.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like
Right.
Francois is fit, but he's still very small.
Yeah. Anyway. I like Ian jumping on the bed with a sugar high and the fact they just threw him in a bag.
Yeah. That's what he does best. He folds, he flips, he flops.
And, he does do all his own folding. That guy.
Yeah.
So, like, we did look that up. The previous one, they were talking about he can fold himself into a trash can. So that was great. But he doesn't speak any English. Had an interpreter on site the whole time. The whole thing. I like that his life was just like he just
wanted a
out
rock
of control.
star. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got nothing you know, like if you don't really care what you're doing and you just all of a sudden have money, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't imagine that I too wouldn't also just be like, I'm gonna just party for the next like 18 years.
Yeah.
Like let's get wild. But
Yeah.
I don't blame him. I would have maybe hired a cleaning lady though, because just the clutter itself would have been excessive.
Yeah.
Like he had to buy more kitchen tables to have beer on, which doesn't seem like the move,
it's a day in the life.
I guess.
Jerry Weintraub, the producer of these movies, he was just the guy on the boat that was talking to Lamarck and Francois. He was the guy at the table with Lyman Zerga.
Okay.
Saul, Lyman Zerga is the quotes. Saul is the guy in the first movie.
Okay.
So, anyway.
Fun facts.
Okay, so here's the Rusty thing I had.
Okay.
So, I couldn't help feeling like the tiramisu at the cafe being different because they did something to the eggs. Comment from Rusty to Isabel had to be some sort of tip-off. Now, I don't think she got it. They don't show like a moment of clarity with her, with him saying that, but I was like, ah, that's something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was my Rusty thing.
I feel it.
But
But I'm with you. It seemed like it would have been pretty like sensible just for the plot structure in general if he was kind of leaving like those hints and clues. Because even going back to the beginning, like him leaving his shoes behind is also kind of that same like leaving hints and clues.
yeah.
So like it felt like it would have just followed in pace if he was kind of breadcrumbing her to all this.
Yeah.
Or at least had something else was, maybe going on just to keep your eyes open.
Yeah. I mean, my next thing is, I'm already like pretty much up to the heist here.
Sure.
You got it?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
I feel like we've...
Oh, okay.
What?
Did you like just...
No,
was I
that's...
talking too much?
No, you're good. Like we covered kind of a lot of the thoughts I had towards kind of like that,
Oh,
that
okay,
middle end
right.
of the section there, so...
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. All right. Cool. I love the entire interaction between Danny and Rusty when Danny gets the premature wake-up call. Baller move by Francois on that one.
Yeah.
5 espressos seems excessive, but not really a espresso guy.
Yeah. And not... So, I mean, small comment in that is just like the... if you wake up and you're planning stuff, like not having multiple forms of knowing what time it is or maybe like looking outside, you fucking idiot. Stuff like that just seemed like a little like Danny should have known better. But I can also imagine, a little bit of the game day jitters of you get that wake up call and you're like, oh shit, oh fuck. All right. Start making coffee or whatever, doing your shower and stuff, drinking. You walk outside and you're like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
Something feels off. I don't know what, but
You could tell me anything like first thing in the morning,
yeah.
Granted, there's the whole smartphone thing now, so it's kind of like...
Yeah, it does lose a little bit
You're
of its-
lying.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But, yeah.
But I mean, like, well, yeah, what's the implication of when he went to bed that's like,
Yeah, there is a certain feel like when you wake up like 2 hours after you went to bed, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
The clock's wrong, all of them. The sun, too. Turn it down.
Yeah. So then they're sitting there just watching TV because Rusty's like, come in.
Yeah, they just start drinking.
Yep, start drinking wine. And I just love how, they're just so like, I don't give a fuck. Like, Rusty holds the glass over there. He just completely misses the wine pour. And like, Rusty's over there just like kind of laying all his troubles out there.
Yeah.
And then Danny's like, I think the guy's name on the show was like Potsy. He's like, guy doing Potsy's amazing. It's like, guy's like pouring his heart out to you over here, and you're just like, oh, this guy's great.
We've all had friends like that, where you've had a few drinks, you start sob storying over to one of them, and he just like couldn't be fucked all to care about you.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm pouring my heart out to you, man. He's like, yeah, anyways, I heard the song the other day, and it was sick. You'd probably like it.
And apparently Rusty has a dick tattoo. That's the message I got from that interaction.
Sure. You don't have a dick tattoo? We all got them when we turned 18. Did you miss out on that?
Yeah, I did.
I see. That's awkward.
Yeah. Should have called me, man. My favorite conversation full of quotes is not my favorite quote. But everybody goes to jail and they start pitching all the ideas, to still steal the egg in the absence of everybody else, right?
Sure.
And so Linus, Basher, and Turk are all like, okay, let's go through the plans again. Swinging Priest, not enough people. Crazy Larry, not enough people. Soft Shoulder, not enough people. Baker's Dozen, no woman, and not enough people. Hell in a Handbasket, we can't train a cat that quickly, and not enough people. So I was just thinking, like, real quick, do we want to try to guess what any of these plans would consist of?
Yeah, I honestly, like, I was even trying to think about it too. I was like, I wonder if, like, because at least we had, like, these, we were talking about, like, actors in the first one. We were doing, like, our code talk stuff. So I was thinking maybe this one was, like, something along the lines of, like, maybe, like, some old movies or films or stuff where they had, like, weird plot names or something like that.
Sure.
I was like, I wonder if this has any, like, meaningful thing that they're kind of jesting at. But then I remembered that in the first one, they all made it up anyway. So there probably wasn't much context to what the plan names were. As far as some of those names, like I couldn't even tell you. I'm sure you've got ideas, so
I thought of a couple. I didn't write
All
them
right.
down. I was just gonna kind of
go for it.
go free form here. Let you bounce some shit, back to me as well. But I will say, we'll just do the two that they kind of gave hints with. Because like the only thing I can think of is Swinging Priest. Is like maybe a priest that just fucks. And so like he walks in with a gal, but then maybe for whatever reason there's another gal, and then maybe he's talking to like museum staff and like he's like, look, I'm in a very precarious situation here, like my girlfriend's right here, my other girlfriend's over there. Do you think you could escort me through the middle across the egg?
I see. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, just something like that, something where the priest who can kind of use his goodwill to sway people.
Yeah. They're like, oh, he's a priest. He's there's no harm this man can do.
Other than he's fucking these two women.
Yeah.
Which seems off.
Weird red
for
flag.
A priest. Yeah. That or they just like push a priest off a ledge or something into a something that swings him. I don't know.
I was thinking maybe like going from the chandelier kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. Push him off a ledge to a chandelier, and then everybody's like, oh my god, look at that swinging priest.
Yeah.
And then somebody just grabs the egg. Yeah. I like that.
Or better yet, so it's a priest, right? So like it's you get the religious thing on it there. The swinging is just like an invisible wire. So he starts levitating. He's the swinging priest, and that's the distraction, as you have a levitating man.
Okay.
And then that's your move.
Maybe floating priest would be a better name for that.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
We're still working through it.
Not sure why there wouldn't be enough people on that version. That
You're
version, It seems like it could be one guy.
Sure.
Well, two guys technically, with the guy playing the priest and the guy stealing the egg. I don't know. Not sure. Crazy Larry. I don't know. Maybe just some crazy guy that like goes in there and just like holds the place up or something, and
Yeah.
like while everybody's looking over here.
I mean, you know how people are. If you have a guy who appears to be mentally disabled, it's going to, for no reason, just get everybody's attention, and people are going to start getting nervous. So
yeah.
it could be a distraction element, but again, doesn't really make sense that we don't have enough people for one guy acting kind of crazy, unless it's like maybe it's like the staff of like whatever asylum he's escaped out of, or mental
Yeah, there
hospital.
you go.
So it's like we have to have enough garbed people to get him under control, and then the dude stealing it.
Yeah.
There's Crazy Larry.
Yeah. Soft Shoulder, I'm not even going to try. I don't even want to try Baker's Dozen. Unless you got something off the top of your head.
Yeah, I'm thinking with the one with the cat, maybe he's just got like a shoulder bag or something, and the cat just, knocks the pedestal, gets the egg to fall in the bag or something, something like that. But yeah, I couldn't tell you any of these.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. We'll just move on then.
We're bad thieves. We wouldn't do the best.
Okay, so then truly my favorite quote of the movie is they get Tess up to her like the hotel room. The joke is like she kind of looks like Julia Roberts. She is Julia Roberts.
Yeah, I thought that was very like lowbrow.
Yeah.
Well, so they had kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. I think Rusty was like, "You ever notice how Tess kind?" I think it was, or was
Rusty.
Yeah, Linus to Rusty. He was like, "You ever notice how Tess kind of looks?" And then he just cuts him off. He's like, "Nope."
Don't ever ask that.
Yeah.
Don't ever say. Yeah.
So I like
can't say why, but don't ever ask that. And Linus is like, ooh.
Yeah, and you just thought it was because Rusty was being an asshole or something, but
Yeah.
it's like, oh no, plot relevance.
I love that same scene. Linus is like, "Can I ask you something?" And then like he starts into it, and he's like, I don't know. He just gives him shit about like.
Yeah, it's like if this
Unless
is a
of
rhetorical,
course it's a rhetorical
yeah,
question, then then that's fine.
then
Just
the
go
answer
on.
is yes.
And then he's like, "Can I ask you something?" Yes. I don't know. It was just a funny interaction. I should have wrote down the quotes on that one, but my favorite quote. They get him up there, and then Tess is like, "I can't do this. This is ridiculous. It's wrong. Like morally." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." And then I think it's Basher who's like, "This could be the difference of whether or not your husband's gonna be doing 25 to life." And then Dirk jumps in and he's like, "He will not be doing 25 to life. Benedict will have him killed immediately."
Oh man.
He's like, "I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that."
Yeah. It's just like read the room, buddy. This is not the time for shit like that. Oh no, that's good.
And then, finally, Saul comes in, clutch, sorta. I mean, they get arrested anyway.
Yeah, I just like when we have Saul back at home, and he's just like the very unhappy. He's like, "This isn't right. I'm not happy. I should be on a heist right now.
Yeah.
This sucks."
Yeah. Well, you get kind of nervous too, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's because
like,
he wants to know.
Right.
He's
yeah.
like, "Oh, I wonder how it's going. I wonder how everybody's doing." Like, obviously no one would have been hitting him up, so
Right.
he's like, I gotta be involved. I gotta know.
They did kind of allude to in the commentary that they couldn't have him the whole time over in Amsterdam, so it was kind of like a, just that part of the plot was kind of just based on the fact that like they literally just didn't have the availability for him to be in the whole thing. So that's why
That
he's
makes
kind of like,
sense.
"I'm out, boys."
Well, I gotta say too, Frank, he also didn't have a lot of screen time on
They
it.
did say that he was also shooting something, and they tried to do as much as they could with the time they had him, but then he also got sick during the time they had him. So, like, the time when he was in the bathroom in that one meeting scene, like, he was actually
in
the
there.
bathroom like he was sick. So, yeah. So, those two because, Frank is awesome. Bernie Mac, rest in peace, for sure.
Yeah.
But,
And just to, I guess, throw it in here now better than ever, or later, I guess. But just the like inter-character interactions, this one I felt like were like pretty smooth, even though we were kind of down two people for good sections of it.
yeah.
But I kind of enjoyed the like everyone's interactions with each other. Felt like they did a little bit more like fleshing out of like that dialogue and everyone kind of like joking and shitting on each other in different ways, like but in kind of respect to their character.
Yeah.
I thought they did a better job of that than in the first one.
Yeah. Well, I think, because it was probably easier too, right? Because we already sort of have an idea of who these guys are, so you can really kind of expand on these guys. And
Groundwork's already been done.
yeah, you don't have to go, "And this is the Malloy brothers." You know, so you just go right into I agree. Then my note is they cheated, which we've already been over.
Bastards.
And then my last thing is just I think the scene in the end is dumb. They gave all their money back to Benedict. I suppose Ruben could have financed this party, but like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what we're really celebrating other than, I mean, I guess the fact that you no longer have a bounty on your head.
Yeah.
That is probably nice. Not a bounty. You don't have a target on your back any longer.
Yeah.
That's probably nice.
What kind of bugs me about just like the general conclusion is that like for Benedict it was very personal,
Yeah.
and then just to have the money back made it not personal.
Yeah.
He wasn't really down any of the money because he got it all back from insurance. So it's like it seems like the general scope here of like what Benedict wanted was to destroy Danny Ocean still, and get his money back. And all he did was get some other guy's money. Like, he didn't get his money back. He got some other guy's money, and like Danny Ocean and all of his friends are still fine. So like
I
it just
guess, I mean, they still had to like. I mean, do you think Lamarck just like footed the whole bill, and like everybody like kept what they had earned in the previous one, or do you think they all like contributed their shit, and then they got the money from Francois?
I can't imagine. I don't know. It could have been maybe a combo of the two, because like I can't imagine any of those guys are like not well off after this movie. You know what I mean?
I can. If they gave all their money back,
Yeah.
then they're exactly not well off. They are not off. They are on.
But and maybe that's where like Lamarck was going to come in and maybe fund some of that stuff, so these guys still had like a living to come off of. Like it doesn't seem like that's how all of this would end, is that everybody has nothing.
Or maybe it was that Francois was just going to cover the whole bill of what they stole from last time. Right? Maybe that.
Yeah, because I mean he got the whole check, right? So I mean,
Right. So maybe it was just like Francois was like, yeah, I'll pay the whole thing. I mean, because they didn't like go over numbers.
yeah.
So I mean, my understanding was that they all like kind of pooled what they had and then had to get the remainder.
Yeah. So
You
maybe
know, from the
Francois
highest.
just fucking booted the whole thing, and
Yeah,
everyone
maybe he
just had whatever they
essentially
had.
gambled $160 million and lost it.
196.
Or yeah,
million.
whatever it was. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, but even in that, it just again seems kind of odd, especially when Francois didn't like genuinely lose because he got cheated. It's like just
I feel like if I was him, I'd throw a much bigger fit about that. It's like, well, that wasn't the,
yeah. It's not, you cheated.
Yeah.
You like I would be on Francois' side with the slamming your hands on the table.
Yeah.
You cheated. You didn't play fair.
Right. I mean, now granted, they didn't like. I mean, it's kind of on him too, because if you don't lay the groundwork of like the specific rules, like he found a loophole, right?
Yeah.
You guys didn't go, well, you can't intercept it on the train, but he kind of, I don't know, they cheated.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm with Francois. I feel like he set the parameters, and the theft was supposed to occur within the museum.
That's how I felt.
So,
yeah.
yeah. Fuck those guys.
Yeah. But I just thought the whole last scene was cheesy there. When they all get together, they have their little party. And I'm like, okay. Yeah.
What would have been better if it was back at the casino, like at Benedict's
That
casino?
would be funny, and then somehow they're like stealing money out of the back of the slot machine or something. I don't know. The one thing that Soderbergh said in that commentary about the way they shot that last party scene is that he didn't really script that. The only thing he really directed was just saying like okay, now you go in, now you go in.
Mm-hmm.
He just controlled the order in which people entered. And then even the like credit shots that everything was displayed over, just the empty glasses and shit like that. That was the actual like aftermath of the party after he had them all party, and he just shot the remnants of everything. So he literally just had them all have a little get together and
No, I mean that's a great way to do that kind of scene, especially when you have like if they've gotten a lot of like I guess on and off screen time together, and everyone kind of has like that that friendship,
Everybody has a good chemistry, I would imagine, at this point.
Yeah.
Plus, they're all like, I think Yen's the only one that's not like a notorious actor, right? I mean,
yeah. So they've all probably spent
Julia
some time with
Roberts,
each other.
George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Don Cheadle, Scott Conn, whichever Affleck brother that is. I guess I don't really know the dude that played. Granted, I can't remember his fucking character's name, but the tech kid,
Yeah.
the little nerd guy, right? Fuck is it? Why can't I remember his goddamn name? But anyway,
Because
the
he
little
had like
comedian thing.
3 minutes of screen time max.
Yeah, he didn't really say a lot. His whole bit about like being a comedian in a bullfighter's uniform or for whatever reason, that was kind of funny. But yeah, anyway. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. That's all I got, man.
Fun
and worth a watch, but
yeah, worth a watch. Definitely some problems, but That's what makes it fun. Right?
Yeah, it didn't like. I just
That's
again.
That's why we can do this.
That's
right?
why we can
'Cause
do
it's-
this.
Yeah.
But I will say, the first one just had the biggest, like, more worthwhile twist to it, I guess, at the end than this one did.
Mm-hmm.
The twist of everyone cheated, or not everyone cheated, but our guys cheated, and then they magically win doesn't land as well as a ha! We played you, you idiot! Ha!
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, we'll leave it at that. So, thanks for listening and stuff, watching. Hit us on our YouTube. Yell at us on the Twitter or at our email at consecrateshotline@yahoo.com. Instagram. Listen to us, Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. So, thanks for watching or listening, and see you later.